You didn't just try to let them go. You forced yourself to. You walked away when your heart wanted to stay. You stayed silent when every part of you wanted to reach out. You convinced yourself, again and again, that this chapter is closed, that this is over, that it's time to move on. And yet, in the quietest moments, they return, not in front of you, but inside you. A memory that hits without warning, a feeling that rises without permission, a name that still carries weight, no matter how much time has passed. And that's what breaks you a little, because you're not holding on anymore. So why does it feel like something is still holding on to you? Why does your heart react when your mind has already walked away? Why does it still matter when you've already decided it shouldn't? Listen closely. This isn't just emotion. This isn't just attachment. Because if it was that simple, it would have faded by now. Sometimes, when something refuses to leave your heart, it's not because you're weak. It's because Allah is not done with it yet. And if Allah is not done with it, then this isn't something you're meant to escape. This is something you're meant to understand before it finally makes sense. What stays in your heart is not always meant to break you. We have been quietly conditioned to believe that healing only begins when everything painful disappears. That if something still lingers in your heart, it must be unhealthy, it must be wrong, and it must be removed as quickly as possible. So the moment a memory refuses to fade, or a feeling refuses to loosen its grip, we panic. We start thinking something is wrong with us. We assume we are weak for still feeling it, or stuck because we haven't moved on the way we expected to. But what if that understanding of healing is incomplete? What if not everything that stays inside you is there to harm you? What if some things are allowed to remain because they carry meaning that hasn't fully revealed itself yet? Because sometimes what stays is not a wound. It's a message. Not a punishment, but a form of direction that your heart has not yet learned how to read. We often rush to silence what hurts without ever asking why it was allowed to exist in the first place. We try to escape the feeling instead of understanding it. But the truth is, pain is not always sent to break you down. There are moments when pain becomes the very thing that awakens you, softens you, or redirects your life in a way comfort never could. Think about it carefully. If Allah wanted that feeling gone, it would be gone. There is no effort required for Him to remove something from your heart. No delay, no process, no struggle. He could take it away in a single moment, without you even realizing when it left. He could erase their presence from your memory so completely that it would feel like they were never there. But He didn't, and that is where the meaning begins. Because when something is allowed to stay, despite your attempts to let it go, it is no longer just about the feeling itself. It becomes about what that feeling is trying to show you. There is something within it that still holds value for your growth, your understanding, or your connection with Allah. Maybe it is revealing a part of your heart that you never noticed before. Maybe it is exposing an emotional need you never acknowledged. Maybe it is teaching you patience in a way that only waiting can teach. Or maybe it is guiding you toward a deeper awareness of what you truly seek, beyond just a person. The mistake we make is assuming that everything painful must be removed immediately. But sometimes the presence of that pain is what shapes you into someone stronger, more aware, and more connected to your Creator. It slows you down. It makes you reflect. It forces you to look inward instead of constantly running outward. And in that stillness, something begins to change. You start to see that what you thought was only hurting you was actually building something within you, a deeper understanding, a quieter strength, a more sincere connection with Allah that did not exist before. So instead of asking, "Why is this still in my heart?" ask yourself, "What is this trying to teach me while it's still here?" Because not everything that remains is meant to break you. Some things remain until they transform you, The heart you're fighting to control belongs to Allah. There is a quiet battle happening inside you that no one else can see. On the outside, you look composed, disciplined, and in control. You've made decisions with your mind. You've told yourself what is right and what is necessary. You've created distance, set boundaries, and tried to move forward with clarity. But deep inside, your heart is still holding on. And that is where the confusion begins. Because you start questioning yourself. You wonder why your heart is not following your decisions. You ask yourself why, even after understanding everything logically, something inside you still feels attached. You begin to feel frustrated, even disappointed in yourself, as if you are failing at letting go. But the truth is far deeper than that. You are trying to control something that was never fully placed under your control. The heart you are struggling with does not belong to you in the way you think it does. It belongs to Allah. He is the one who turns it, softens it, holds it in place, and releases what it carries. You can influence your actions, your environment, and your choices, but the movement of the heart itself is something far more subtle and far more divine. That is why sometimes you feel one way when you wake up, and completely different by the time the night arrives. That is why certain names, certain memories, certain emotions return without your permission. It is not because you are weak, it is because the heart operates under a higher command than your own. And once you truly understand this, something inside you begins to shift. You stop blaming yourself for every feeling that passes through you. You stop treating your emotions like failures. Instead, you begin to see them as part of a process that Allah is allowing to unfold within you for a reason. When someone remains in your heart despite your efforts to let go, it is not always a sign that you are doing something wrong. Sometimes, it is simply a sign that Allah has not yet turned that page for you, that He is still allowing that connection to exist, not necessarily to keep you attached forever, but to guide you through something you are still meant to experience or understand. This realization brings a different kind of calm, because instead of trying to force your heart into silence, you begin to approach it with awareness. You begin to make dua, not just to remove the feeling, but to align your heart with what is best. You begin to trust that if something is meant to leave, Allah will take it away at the right time, in the right way, without confusion or struggle. And if something is meant to stay, then it will stay with purpose, not chaos. The struggle you feel is not a sign of failure. It is a reminder that your heart is not just a part of your body. It is something sacred, something guided, something constantly being shaped by the one who created it. So instead of asking, "Why can't I control this?" ask yourself, "What is Allah doing within my heart through this?" Because the moment you stop trying to control everything is the moment you begin to understand what your heart is truly being guided toward. You're trying to end a story Allah is still writing. There comes a moment where you sit with yourself and make a firm decision. You tell your heart, "This is over. This has no future. I need to move on." You try to close the chapter with logic, with discipline, with everything you believe is right. And, on the surface, it seems like the correct choice. But then something unexpected happens. Despite your decision, the feeling doesn't fully disappear. The connection doesn't completely fade. The memories don't stay buried the way you hoped they would. Instead, they return quietly, again and again, as if something within you is not ready to let the story end. And that's when the confusion deepens. Because now you're not just dealing with emotions, you're dealing with contradiction. Your mind says it's finished, but your heart feels like there is still something unfinished. You try to silence it, but it keeps speaking in subtle ways. What if this tension is not a mistake? What if the reason you cannot fully close this chapter is because it hasn't actually reached its ending yet? We often rush to create closure because we want peace, we want clarity, We want to move forward without carrying uncertainty. So we force endings, even when the deeper meaning of the experience has not fully revealed itself. But Allah does not rush the unfolding of your life. While you are trying to shut the door completely, Allah may still be writing what happens behind it. There may be parts of this story that you haven't lived through yet, lessons you haven't fully understood, or outcomes that have not yet reached their time. And that is why, no matter how hard you try to walk away emotionally, something keeps pulling your attention back. It is not always about the person. Sometimes it is about the story itself. Because a story written by Allah is never incomplete without purpose. Every moment, every feeling, every delay carries something within it that is shaping you in ways you cannot fully see yet. You might think the chapter has no future, but Allah may still be building something from it that will only make sense later. Or perhaps He is not bringing the story back to continue it in the same way, but to complete it properly, with clarity instead of confusion. The discomfort you feel is not always a sign that you are stuck. Sometimes it is a sign that you are in the middle of something that has not yet reached its conclusion. And this is where trust becomes essential. Not blind attachment, not emotional dependence, but trust in the timing of Allah's plan. Trust that if something is truly meant to end, He will close it in a way that leaves no doubt in your heart. And if something is meant to continue, He will open it in a way that is clear, respectful, and aligned with what is right. Until then, your role is not to force the ending. Your role is to stay grounded, to protect your boundaries, and to allow Allah to complete what He has begun writing in your life. Because when you try to end a story too early, you don't find peace, you find questions. But when Allah completes a story, He replaces every question with understanding. This attachment isn't random, it's a test of your faith. There are feelings that come and go lightly, and then there are feelings that stay, grow, and settle deep within your heart in a way that you cannot ignore. This kind of attachment feels different. It feels intense, persistent, almost as if it was placed there with purpose. And that's exactly what makes it difficult. Because the stronger the feeling becomes, the easier it is to believe that it must mean something permanent. You begin to tell yourself, if I feel this deeply, it must be right, it must be meant to stay, it must lead somewhere. But not every strong feeling is a sign of destiny. Sometimes it is a test not of how deeply you can feel, but of how wisely you can respond to what you feel. Allah does not test you only through hardship that is obvious. He also tests you through emotions that feel beautiful, powerful, and convincing. He places something in your heart and then watches how you carry it. Not whether you feel it, but how you handle it. Will you let it control your decisions? Will you allow it to pull you toward what is not right? Will you lose your balance trying to hold on to it? Or will you remain grounded, even when your heart feels heavy? This is where faith becomes real, because it is easy to trust Allah when your heart feels empty or detached. It is easy to stay patient when nothing is pulling you in a direction. But when your heart is full, when you feel strongly towards someone, when your emotions are loud and persistent, that is when your faith is truly being tested. Can you still choose what is right over what feels right? Can you hold on to your values even when your heart is urging you to move faster, to act impulsively, to chase something that is not yet written for you in the right way? This attachment becomes a mirror. It reflects your discipline, your sincerity, and your trust in Allah. It reveals whether you are led by your emotions or guided by your faith. And the truth is, feeling something deeply is not a sin. It does not make you weak. It does not make you wrong. What matters is what you do with that feeling. Do you turn it into something pure, something patient, something aligned with what Allah has allowed? Or do you let it drift into something uncontrolled, something that takes you away from your path? Allah is not asking you to erase your heart. He is asking you to protect it, to carry what you feel with dignity, to hold on to it without losing yourself, to trust that if it is truly meant for you, it will come to you in a way that does not require you to compromise your faith. And if it is not meant to stay, then this very attachment will become the reason you grow closer to Allah, not further away. So instead of asking, "Why do I feel this so strongly?" ask yourself, "How can I handle this feeling in a way that pleases Allah?" Because this is not just an attachment. It is a moment where your heart is being tested and your faith is being strengthened through it. Allah sent them to change you, not just stay with you. There are people who enter your life quietly, without warning, without any clear reason at first, and yet their presence shifts something deep inside you. It doesn't always happen immediately. Sometimes it's gradual, a small change in how you think, how you feel, how you see yourself, until one day you realize you are not the same person you were before they came into your life. And that realization can be both beautiful and painful at the same time, because a part of you begins to believe that anyone who changed you this deeply must be meant to stay. It feels logical, it feels fair. You start thinking, if they had this much impact on me, how could they not be part of my future? But life doesn't always work that way. Not everyone who changes you is meant to remain with you. Sometimes Allah sends people into your life not as permanent companions, but as instruments of transformation. They arrive at a specific moment in your journey, carrying exactly what you needed at that time, even if you didn't realize it then. They awaken parts of your heart that were asleep. They expose wounds you didn't know you were carrying. They bring out emotions you had never experienced so deeply before. And through all of that, you begin to evolve. Maybe before them, you were distant from Allah, and through the pain or confusion they brought, you found yourself making sincere dua for the first time in a long time. Maybe you became more patient, more reflective, more aware of your own needs and your own boundaries. Maybe they showed you what you truly value, or what you should never settle for again. This is the part we often overlook. We focus so much on whether they stayed or left that we forget to notice what they left within us. Because even if they are no longer present in your life the way they once were, the version of you that emerged through that experience does not disappear. The growth, the awareness, the strength, all of it remains, and that is not accidental. Allah does not place people in your path without purpose. Every connection carries meaning. Every interaction leaves an imprint. And sometimes, the purpose of a person is fulfilled, not in staying forever, but in changing you in a way that prepares you for what comes next. It is difficult to accept this, especially when your heart is still attached. You want the story to continue. You want the connection to have a lasting form. You want everything you felt to lead to something permanent. But permanence is not always the purpose. Sometimes the purpose is preparation. Preparation for a better connection. Preparation for a deeper understanding of yourself. Preparation for a future that requires you to be stronger, wiser, and more aware than you were before. And once you begin to see it this way, your perspective starts to shift. Instead of asking, "Why didn't they stay?" you begin to ask, "What did they change in me?" Because that is where the real value lies. In the way you grew, in the way you turned back to Allah, in the way you became someone who understands their own heart more deeply than before. So, don't measure their presence in your life only by how long they stayed. Measure it by how much they shaped you. Because sometimes, the people who don't remain are the ones who transform you the most. If they're written for you, they will return the right way. One of the heaviest feelings you can carry is uncertainty, not knowing whether someone is meant to be part of your life or just a chapter you were supposed to pass through. That what if sits quietly in your heart, making it difficult to fully move forward. yet never giving you enough clarity to hold on with peace. So you start overthinking, you replay conversations, you imagine different outcomes. You wonder if you should reach out, if you should try again, if maybe this time things will be different. But in all of this, you forget one powerful truth. What is written for you does not need to be chased. If someone is truly meant to be part of your life, you will not have to force your way into it. You will not have to constantly question where you stand. You will not have to live in a state of emotional confusion, hoping for signs while feeling uncertain inside. Because what Allah writes for you comes with a different kind of energy. It comes with clarity. It comes with ease. It comes in a way that aligns not only with your heart, but also with your faith, your dignity, and your peace. Right now, what you may be experiencing is a connection that exists emotionally, but is not yet ready to exist in reality. And that distinction matters more than we realize. Just because someone lives in your heart does not mean they are ready to live in your life. Timing is part of what makes something right. Even the most sincere connection can feel painful and confusing when it arrives at the wrong time, in the wrong way, or under the wrong circumstances. And this is where trust becomes essential. Because if this person is truly written for you, you do not need to rush it. You do not need to hold on tightly out of fear that you might lose them. You do not need to step outside of what is right just to keep the connection alive. Allah does not write something for you only to make you chase it endlessly. He brings it to you when it is ready. He aligns it in a way that does not break your peace, but strengthens it. He places it in your life in a form that is clear, respectful, and complete. Not hidden, not confusing, not half-present. And until that moment comes, your role is not to force the return. Your role is to become the person who is ready for what you are asking Allah for. To grow, to heal, to strengthen your connection with Him. Because sometimes the delay is not about them. It is about you becoming someone who can receive what is truly meant for you without losing yourself in it. And if they are not written for you, then no amount of holding on will bring them back in the right way. It will only prolong confusion, deepen attachment, and distance you from the peace you are meant to have. That is why letting go, in a healthy and faithful way, is not losing. It is trusting. Trusting that what is yours will return without force. Trusting that what is not yours will be removed, even if your heart struggles to accept it. Trusting that Allah's plan is not based on your fear of loss, but on His knowledge of what will truly complete you. So instead of asking, will they come back? Ask yourself, am I trusting Allah enough to let Him decide how and when? Because if they are written for you, they will return. Not in confusion, not in pain, but in a way that feels right. In every part of your life, you don't miss them. You miss how they made you feel. There is a moment of honesty that most people avoid because it changes everything once you see it clearly. You sit with your thoughts, you feel that pull in your chest, and you tell yourself, I miss them. It feels real, it feels certain, it feels like the only truth your heart recognizes. But if you slow down and look deeper, you begin to notice something subtle. It's not always them that you are holding on to. It's the way you felt when you were with them. The comfort of being understood without explaining too much. The warmth of their attention when it was focused on you. The quiet reassurance that you mattered to someone in a way that felt special and rare. Those feelings leave a strong imprint on your heart. They create a space inside you that once felt full and now feels empty. And naturally, your mind connects that emptiness to the person who once filled it. So, you begin to believe that what you are missing is them. But in reality, you are missing a feeling. And this is where the misunderstanding begins. Because when you think you miss the person, you start attaching your healing to their return. You start believing that the only way to feel that peace again is if they come back into your life exactly the way they were before. But feelings are not owned by people. They are experiences that pass through people. The comfort you felt did not belong to them. The sense of connection you experienced was not something only they could give. It was something that was awakened within you during that time. And once you realize this, something shifts. You stop placing all the value on the person, and you begin to understand the deeper need inside your heart. You begin to recognize that what you truly desire is not just a specific individual, but a state of emotional peace, understanding, and connection. And that changes how you move forward. Because instead of holding on tightly to someone who may not be right for you, you start opening yourself to the possibility that Allah can give you that same feeling again, but in a better, healthier, and more complete way. A way that doesn't come with confusion. A way that doesn't leave you questioning your worth. A way that aligns with your faith and protects your peace at the same time. The danger of misunderstanding this is that you keep chasing a person thinking they are the source of what you felt, while ignoring the fact that Allah is the true source of every feeling that touches your heart. He is the one who allowed you to experience that connection, and He is the one who can replace it with something even more fulfilling, at the right time, with the right person. So the next time you feel that longing, don't immediately label it as missing them. Pause. Ask yourself what you are truly missing. Is it their presence, or the feeling of being seen, valued, and at peace? Because once you identify that, you stop chasing what is temporary, and you start trusting the one who can give you something lasting. And that is where real healing begins. Not when the person returns, but when you understand what your heart was truly searching for all along. When something keeps returning, Allah is speaking through it. There are things in life that pass once and then disappear completely. They come, they leave, and they never return in the same way again. But then there are other things, moments, people, emotions, memories that don't follow that pattern. They return, not once, not twice, but again and again, in ways you cannot fully control. Sometimes it's a thought that visits you when everything is quiet. Sometimes it's a feeling that rises without warning. Sometimes it's a situation that seems to circle back into your life, just when you thought it was over. And after a while, it starts to feel strange. You begin to wonder why this keeps happening. You question why something you tried to move past refuses to stay in the past. You might even feel frustrated, thinking that you are stuck in a loop you cannot escape. But what if this repetition is not something to escape from? What if it is something to listen to? Because in a life that is carefully written by Allah, nothing repeats without purpose, nothing returns without meaning. Every recurrence carries a message, even if it is not immediately clear. When something keeps coming back into your awareness, it is often because there is something within it that you have not fully understood yet. A lesson that has not settled, a truth that has not been accepted, a realization that has not reached your heart deeply enough to change you. And until that happens, it returns, not to confuse you, but to guide you. We often try to silence what repeats. We distract ourselves, we push it away, we try to replace it with something else, hoping it will finally disappear. But the more we resist understanding it, the more persistent it becomes. Because repetition is not random. It is a form of communication. Allah speaks to us in ways that are not always direct. Sometimes He speaks through experiences, through patterns, through the things that keep showing up in our lives until we are ready to see them differently. Maybe what keeps returning is not meant to stay forever, but it is meant to wake you up, to make you reflect, to make you question, to make you look deeper than you did before. It could be pointing towards something within you that needs healing, It could be revealing a pattern in your choices that needs to change. Or it could simply be guiding you toward a level of understanding that will bring you closer to Allah in a way you never expected. The key is not to react to the repetition blindly. The key is to pause and reflect on it consciously. Instead of asking, "Why does this keep happening to me?" ask yourself, "What is this trying to show me?" Because once you shift your perspective from frustration to reflection, the meaning begins to unfold. And when the meaning becomes clear, the repetition loses its purpose. It no longer needs to return because you have already received what it was sent to deliver. So don't rush to escape what keeps coming back into your life. Sit with it, understand it, learn from it. Because sometimes the very thing you are trying to silence is the way Allah is trying to reach your heart the most. Maybe this was never about them in the way you thought. Maybe it was never just about holding on or forcing yourself to let go. Maybe it was about everything that happened inside you because of them. The way your heart softened, the way your soul searched for answers, the way you turned back to Allah in moments when you felt the most lost. Because not every connection is meant to stay in your life, but every connection is meant to leave something within you. And maybe that's what this was. A chapter that woke you up, a feeling that changed you, a moment that brought you closer to something deeper than you were before. So, if they still cross your mind, don't rush to push it away. Don't hate yourself for feeling it. Just pause and remind yourself, Allah knows exactly why this touched your heart. Allah knows exactly why it stayed. And Allah knows exactly when it will leave, or when it will return in the right way. You don't have to force the ending. You don't have to carry all the answers. You just have to trust that what is written for you will never miss you. And what misses you was never meant to stay. And one day, you won't look back at this with confusion. You'll look back at it with understanding.